I have published a book. It's called Hacking Chinese, the Snake Collection, and contains articles I wrote in 2025, the year of the snake. The articles cover a wide variety of topics, but Chinese characters, tutors, and input are the most prominent. Hello and welcome to the Hacking Chinese podcast. In this week's episode, I'm going to talk about a book that I have just published called Hacking Chinese, the Snake Collection. It's a print anthology that contains articles from 2025, the year of the snake, hence the title. To get the book, please click the link in the show notes. And if you want to know more about the book before you decide, this is what this episode is for. If you're a regular listener or reader, you will know what these articles are about, and you might have listened to or read some of them already. But if you're new to Hacking Chinese, this is probably not the best episode to start with, so I suggest you check out episode 0 instead, where I introduce the podcast. The Snake Collection is actually not the first book I published this year, because we also have the Dragon Collection that I talked about in episode 288. To recap briefly what I said there, the plan is to release these anthologies one per year moving forward, so there will be one for 2026, 2027 and so on, and then also retroactively publish one that covers a year going backwards in time. When I reread old articles I've written years ago, I'm usually not that happy about them, but starting in 2020 or so, I think the article quality is good enough to put into print. This means that when this project is done in 2032, there will be 12 volumes, one for each of the animals in the Chinese zodiac. As was the case with the Dragon Collection, the articles collected in this volume are the same as the articles that are freely available on Hacking Chinese. I have added 2 long didn't read summaries for busy readers for each of them, and these are the summaries I also include in my newsletter. This means that for all intents and purposes, the contents of this book are already freely available on Hacking Chinese, and there is no reason to buy the book simply to access the content. I will also put a link in the show notes to a page that lists all the articles contained in this volume, so you can read them digitally if you prefer. This is actually meant as a reference for people who want to read on paper, because I obviously can't include links in a printed book, but there might be cases where you do want to look something up and then there's a page with all the articles. So the idea here is not to publish new content, but to provide existing articles that I'm happy with in a format you can leaf through, put on your shelf, or perhaps gift to your nephew. Since this book collects articles from a year and I don't have a specific theme for each year, it follows that the articles cover a wide range of topics. As mentioned in the introduction to this episode though, there are a few themes that were very prominent in 2025, and they were Chinese characters, tutors and teachers, and input. These topics are extremely important for learners and teachers of Chinese, and so Chinese characters, for example, make up one of the 2 more or less unique challenges with learning Chinese, the other one being tones. The articles included in this volume tackle everything from the basic reasons to write by hand, and the article 16 Reasons to Learn to Write Chinese Characters by Hand was one of the longest last year. It's worth pointing out here that it's 16 reasons to learn to write Chinese characters by hand, not 16 good reasons. So the point here is that I'm going through all these reasons and analyzing them, if they apply or if they are even valid. Once you have decided to write by hand, there's also a lot of things in this volume about how to do that. For example, 7 ways to learn to write Chinese characters and a minimum effort approach to writing Chinese characters by hand. The next point, tutors and teachers, is maybe not specific to Chinese. Many of these points apply to learning other languages too, but it is still important to discuss. The core here is a series of articles looking at both sides of the equation, so what you should bring to a tutoring session, and also, of course, what the tutor should bring and how you can identify a good teacher. And we also have articles about how to find a good teacher. The third topic is input, as in listening and reading. After having focused on listening comprehension for a while and building the course The Fluent Listener, I have widened the scope a bit to also think and write more about input in general, including reading. Still, I maintain that listening is the most important skill of all, and this volume contains a lot of recommendations for how to listen and what to listen to. The 3 main topics cover roughly half the articles in this volume, so there are many other articles about various other topics related to learning and teaching Mandarin. As mentioned, I'll put a link in the show notes to a page where you can find all the articles and podcast episodes included in this volume. So now that you know what this book contains, I would like to also repeat something I said last time. Some might ask what the point is, why put free articles into print? Well, the simple answer is because I wanted to. I like books, and I like printed books in particular. Publishing books containing articles I'm proud of having written is nice. I can flip through the pages, it sits neatly on my shelf, even though I think it's highly unlikely that my nephew would actually appreciate this book as a gift. Naturally, the reason I'm publishing the book and announcing it in this podcast episode is because I know there are followers of Hacking Chinese who would appreciate having a print volume too. If you're one of them, you can get the book by clicking the link in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in to the Hacking Chinese podcast. If you like this episode, please share it. More information and inspiration about learning and teaching Chinese can be found at hackingchinese.com. See you in the next episode, and until then, good luck with your studies.